Hey, 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 hey. It is Monday. It is Monday. And we are here. And we are yet still here. Y'all come on in. Come on in this house. 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 Come on in. Come on in. It is time for some more tea and some more truth. Let's get some people in here. Who has shown up? And Michelle Brown Russell has made it in the room. Hey, girl, hey. Sitting up in your room with water. I have peach tea. I am in Little Rock, Arkansas live. I have peach tea. And today I sweetened with turbinado sugar instead of honey. And it's warm outside, so this tea is iced. Tag some people. Tag some people so that they can come on in here and get this good old information. I'm tagging a few. I am tagging a few. And I'm going to turn my phone off so we won't have a delay. How was y'all's weekend? Oh, Michelle, happy birthday. Happy belated birthday. Happy birthday. I hope you celebrated. I hope you did something to acknowledge the day that you arrived, the anniversary of the day that you arrived on this planet. So, yep, I'm going to wait about another minute. You know, you're from the South when you shake the ice around like that and then you drink. It's the air. It's the air. It is the air that certifies you as Southern. I don't even know what that air means. But what we are going to do. So I am for those of you who don't know, for those of you who will watch the replay, for those of you who will be your first time seeing me, my name is Karen Booth. I am the baggage handler. I am a certified confidence and forgiveness coach. I got my certification through the big consortium under the tutelage of Pastor Dr. Ashley Johnson. And I handle the baggage that has settled in your soul because you can't be all that God has created for you to be, carrying all that stuff around. You're gonna get tired, you're gonna hurt your back, carrying all that garbage around, right? And so every day at 4:30, every day unless otherwise announced, I show up at 4:30 and I give you a little tea and a little truth. We tell each other what we're drinking, we tell each other where we are, and I talk a little bit about confidence and forgiveness because that is what I do. So let us talk about how unforgiveness causes your confidence to change because you don't lose it. You don't lose your confidence. You adjusted your life so that you could survive. So, for when we talk about forgiveness, okay, as a review, forgiveness is the choice to stop letting your feelings be noticeably changed, noticeably impacted, noticeably affected by holding persistent ill will, hostility, anger, enmity towards a person, an entity, a thing that has injured you, wronged you, betrayed you, harmed you in some way. But notice the first thing I said was it is a choice to stop allowing your feelings to run amok, basically. Because quiet as it's kept, quiet as it's kept, you control the feelings that you have. You control the feelings that you have because you say stuff like, you know what, I'm not gonna let this make me mad. I'm not gonna let this ruin my day. So you exercise control over your feelings sometimes and you don't even realize it, right? So that is what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is also a commandment from God that you would forgive your neighbor as he has forgiven you. Okay? So when you don't do that, when you don't do that, the unforgiveness, the grudge, that thing that just sits in your chest, it stays there and it stays in your soul. Okay? And it impacts how you show up. It impacts how you show up in relationships with your spouse, partner, friends, sisters, siblings, cousins. It impacts how you show up in every relationship you have, not just romantic, but also including romantic. It impacts how you show it. It impacts how you deal with people because you're not responding to the person. You're responding to some experience somewhere that didn't have anything to do with it. Or maybe it did have something to do with it. But whatever it is, you're responding to that experience. So when we talk in terms of confidence, confidence is not being loud. Confidence is not personality. There used to be some kids in high school. I go back to high school because that's the point where everybody remembers some traumatic thing about something that happened to them in high school that kind of shaped them for the rest of their lives. Now, excuse me for coughing. I was a pretty quiet person when I was in high school. You know, typically I'm quiet, like people say, I'm quiet until I get comfortable with you, right? Which, I think that's a commonality amongst a lot of people. There were other people who didn't meet a stranger, were outspoken, were all the things that I thought confidence was. Sometimes they were loud. Sometimes it was their personality just showed up big because that's their personality. That doesn't necessarily mean that they were confident because as I have learned, as I have gotten older, I have learned that people put on masks. People put on an act because they think this is how I should act. This is how I should show up. I am a cheerleader, or I am a smart person, or I am a, this or that. So this is how I should show up. And they're masking, or they could be. Now maybe they would. They could be masking or acting a certain way because this is how they figure they should show up. And maybe they weren't showing up as themselves. I'm sure, excuse me, I don't know why I'm talking like this. I'm pretty sure that in high school, I did not show up as my authentic self. Why? Because I had experienced some some life changing events. I needed to express some forgiveness, but I didn't know. And so I showed up the best way I knew how. When I got to college, I was able to kind of revamp, reinvent myself, right? Because I was in a new environment. I was going to be different. I was going to do different, blah, blah, blah. And so I did. I'm still not, that probably still wasn't my totally authentic self, though, because I was still holding on to unforgiveness, right? So now at the great age of 57, I have begun to show up comfortably as myself in my relationship with my parents, because daddy just died. But what I what I wish I had known sooner was that the person that I was behaving as was not the person that God created. And so my daddy didn't get to fully see me become the me that he always knew was there. He didn't, my mom is going to get to see. She's going to get to see her. She's going to get to see the Karen that God created because she's seeing the book get written. She's seeing me teach the class. She's seeing me do all the things that I didn't realize that I could do because I was holding on to unforgiveness. Now, you probably are saying, now, Karen, you can't bit more mean that because you held a grudge against somebody that it impacted how you showed up. I'm so glad you asked me this. Because listen here. When unforgiveness sits in your soul, that's your mind, your will, your emotions, your intellect, and your imagination. When unforgiveness sits in your soul, you don't trust easily. You brace yourself, you hold back, you second guess yourself. You're present, but you're not available. What does that mean? You're present. You go out with your girlfriends, you do all the things with your girlfriends, but you don't really let them in. You don't really show who you really are. You don't let them know what your fears really are. You don't let them know all the things that you would share. You don't let them know. So then when something crazy happens to you, the people don't show up because they don't know that you need them to show up. So then you brace more and you self protect more and you do all the things that you know that you think you need to do to survive. Because your mind replays conversations, your mind replays events, your mind replays things that happen. Your will made decisions. The will. You know my example for the wheel. I ain't gonna never, whatever it is that you ain't gonna never. And your wheel sets up these boundaries and the boundaries become walls and your hey Kim Armstrong, and your emotions and your feelings are running rampant all over the place, doing the crazy, and your intellect, you see how this is tied into your soul? Your intellect creates meaning to what the other person did. Never mind that the other person probably is just as traumatized as you. Hey Deja. Never mind that the other person might be as traumatized as you are. So maybe their behavior that hurt you was impacted by what hurt them. It's true. Hurt people hurt other people. And sometimes hurt people hurt other people, they don't know that they hurt the person. because they're protecting themselves just like you're protecting themselves. So y'all just sitting up there together, walled up, and everybody mad. And so then your imagination starts painting pictures that this is going to happen again. This is going to happen repeatedly. This is going to happen over and over and over again. So I'm just stay over here behind these walls. I'm just stay over here behind this wall that I have set up that I think is protective of me. But you keep going and doing, trying to do new and different things, but you're behind these walls and you're second guessing yourself and you're bracing yourself for what could potentially happen. And you're looking for something to go wrong and you're not showing up as who you are. Hey, Lisa, how are you doing? So, dear believer, the Bible says in 2 Corinthians 5 and 17, if anyone is in Christ, they are a new creation. So, God says you are new, but you are still functioning as who you had to become. You are still functioning in this world of survival. You are still functioning in this world of I have to protect myself. Now, if Psalm 91 says you're protected under the shadow of the Almighty, amongst a whole lot of other things. If Psalm 91 says that no plague shall come nigh thy dwelling, and no harm shall come to thee, and it gives you all of these ways that God can and does and will protect you. If it says all of that, why then do we step in and be like, I'm going to build a wall around me and my heart and myself because ain't nobody gonna ever hurt me like that again. We be doing a lot. We do a lot. We do a lot because we don't recognize how much God loves us and how much He wants to be. Like if you didn't have if you didn't have good parents, which I did have good parents. But if you didn't have good parents and they didn't protect you from some stuff, and so you have grown up with, okay, anybody gonna ever do, and you build your land, your kingdom, and you are the queen of your queendom, and ain't nobody in there but you. Anybody but in there but you because you're protecting yourself. But you want somebody in there, but you won't let nobody in. But you in there mad because won't nobody come in, but can't nobody climb over that wall that you done built because you're protecting yourself. True story. True story. This true story about me. I didn't let my husband in until years after we got married. Now, let me explain why. When we started dating, I was in therapy. I just didn't think it was no good idea to date nobody. But Steven wouldn't go away. When I tell you I did everything to get that man go away, I promise on everything. I ooh, I am by nature a kind person, but I have been through the ringer so much until I was just like, I'm too tired to even be kind. And so since I am too tired to be kind, I know for sure it is not a good idea for me to date anybody. I know it is not. Here he comes. Here he comes. I probably have to write a book one day about how horrible I was to him because I didn't want to be bothered. And I was acting like I didn't want to be bothered because I did not want to be bothered. And plus me and Stephen were already friends, had been friends for years. And I was like, now, sir, we're friends, and I really like you because you're a cool dude. Like I like you as a friend. So I really don't. First of all, I really don't want you to see all this crazy that I'm dealing with within my soul. Two, I don't want to hurt your feelings because I don't want you to be all, I like you, I think you cool, I think we could be together, and I'm over here acting ignorant, and then you don't like me no more, not even as friend. I was like, I don't want to do all that. Why? Because I had built these very walls that I am telling y'all about. I had built these ways of protecting myself. I had built up this system of functioning that worked for me. And I was over there in my walls, wishing somebody would, come be with me, yet and still keeping the walls up so wouldn't nobody climb up the walls. It's insane. And there I was stuck. I didn't like my job. I'm gonna say I hated it. I didn't like my job, but I didn't have enough confidence to put in for another one because I had gotten used to the crazy at that job. That is how unforgiveness rests in your soul, makes you behave in a way because you've adjusted to survive. Your confidence is down in there. Your confidence is there with you. It has not gone anywhere. It has gone nowhere. It's just sitting there lying dormant because you out here with your cape on trying to save yourself. Michelle, we both know. We, he had to change you, baby. That Stephen Booth wasn't going nowhere. Nowhere was he going. And I was like, you don't want all this smoke. Like you don't want this. But here's the thing. Here's the beautiful thing, y'all. Is that it doesn't have to stay that way. Now, fortunately, my husband was from the hood, so he was like, "This is nothing compared to what I've lived through. We can work through this." And so he was like, "When our next appointment at the therapist, I work." Michelle, I actually am glad he stayed. I am. Okay. So your confidence is still in there. You just need to do the work through forgiveness and restoration to get it to come out, to blossom. And that's what I do. That's what I do. That is why I am the baggage handler. And what I want y'all to do is to take the opportunity to have a one-on-one session with me, Coach Karen, the baggage handler. I want y'all to take the opportunity to have a one-on-one session with me. Now, I am running a special until the Lord say otherwise. I thought it was going to end at the end of this month. It is not. So I have some space on Mondays, mostly on Mondays, a little bit on Thursday. I have some space. I know it says for the next 7 days. It's gonna say that for the next 7 days until he tell me to stop. So if you go to my personal page and you see this pin to the top, then the link to sign up for your session is in the comments. And I really would love to help you. I really would because we don't want you sitting on your potential. We don't want you showing up as a person that you are not. We want you showing up authentically as the real you that God created before the enemy came and created trauma and havoc to steal, kill, and destroy. That's what happened. Unfortunately, we got booted out the Garden of Eden. So you can get to the real you. You can get to the plans that God has for you. You can get to everything that God says He wants to give you. You also have to do the work to become the new creation, to actually manifest the new creation that you are by accepting Him. Okay? So that is what I do. I help you handle the baggage that is in your soul. I want you to show up in your life and your relationships differently so that you can experience peace, so that you can experience success, so that you can experience joy, so that you can have life and have it more abundantly. Okay? So just remember, you didn't lose confidence. You learned how to survive. And now we're going to take you out of survival mode. Hey TJ, Kim Armstrong, you stop calling yourself crazy. Stop that. We're not going to call ourselves that. I said I used to be. So we're going to stop calling ourselves that, and we're going to work towards the peace that passes all understanding, and we're going to become the new creatures. Okay. Now that's all I got for y'all today. That's all I got for you today. We'll be back with uh, some more lessons on confidence, some more lessons on uh, how it shows up in your relationship, and you know, we'll just see what happens from there. We'll see what the Lord gives me. All right, y'all have a great rest of the day. I hope your Monday was all good and well. I am going to sign off now, and we will see you once more again. Michelle, hope you had a great birthday. A great birthday. We will see y'all tomorrow at 4:30. All right. Bye bye.